toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más resuena por la pared, creando una canción. No quiero perder el ritmo. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Crucemos el número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Crecemos en número en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles. Más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más
just follow your trail, and I'm losing your mind, and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you.
Can't stop us now.
don't know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Breath to shake the ground, you feel it moving with the revolution.
Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport for the Pro Series. Just apologies on the screen at the moment. We haven't got the live feed up. We are just sorting that out now. Mistake on my behalf, but we are live for the Pro Series tonight. I'm Matthew Duffin in the commentary box as always, and tonight I'm joined by the better half of the Davis family in terms of commentating. I'm joined by Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
I'm very well, mate. Thank you very much. The better half, I like that. Yeah.
Well, I said to Dan last night, I says I'm joined by the second half and the runner-up of the tier twos of the Davis family. I kind of gave it I finished the introduction off from last night, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, glad to be here again, Matt, on Simplay. A pleasure to be here. Looking forward to tonight's racing at Snetterton with the pros.
Yeah. Should be an interesting evening then. If you missed last night's action, guys, check out the Pro-Am, especially race 2. What an end to that race. We saw Dean Saki take the win, but dramas for NJ and Alfie on the final lap that led to his victory. What a cracking race with the changeable conditions in the rain as well. Forecast looks dry for tonight, but we'll have to wait and see on what happens. You never know with the British weather. Yeah, forecast looks dry. We'll have to see what people do. You see 13 cars on the grid. We are expecting Jamie Brazier and the Only G in. They are just running a bit behind schedule. No Phil tonight. Phil not here as he is working the late shift. So Phil, if you are watching Sooty Apex, let's see if he can do you boys proud in that Lamborghini tonight.
Phil, if you're watching, get back to work, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing watching YouTube? You're supposed to be working. We know what Phil does.
Who's that just come in the lobby? Someone has... Big Boy Brazier's back in the lobby. That was what you saw, the bit of lag there. Currently on board with the current pro champion, Gary 131. Likes the Snetterton 300 circuit. He's not a home driver, though, for him. It is Big Boy Brazier's home circuit. Lives half an hour down the road. Yep. So I suppose in between qualifying, he can just pop down for a quick toilet break in his own house and a cheeky biscuit and a cup of tea. Because why not? Evening to Alfie, NJ Smithy, Peaceful Explosion, Bethany and Duffin, that Bozzy Boy, aka Liam Gamer, Joey's also in the chat. So nice to see some of the Pro-Am lads come to watch the Pro guys. 19 people watching, guys. Leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe. Welshie already has a one place, at least a minimum of a one place grid drop. Now, interesting for Welshie and Deeks, Kelly, as G gets into the session. They have taken the liberty of changing cars. They will have forfeited any points they scored last week and have dropped the Acura, and there will now be 8 Lamborghinis on the Pro grid. Welshie and Deeks deciding to go for the Lamborghini over the Acura. They have forfeited all points they have got, but have taken that car from tonight forward to the rest of the season.
Right, okay. They weren't getting on with the Acura, I believe.
From what I've heard, they just they found the Lamborghini. You
quite rated it, didn't you?
I enjoy it. It's the car. I mean, take being a Honda fan aside from it, I find the car really nice to drive, and I'm as quick as some of the quick guys in this session in the Acura. I really like the car. I know it's a car that doesn't suit a lot of driving styles. I think it is quite slow, and you've got to be aggressive with it, and it doesn't suit a lot of people's driving styles. I personally rate it, but nevertheless,
I haven't driven it, so I can't comment on it. But those guys have changed cars. They're in the Lamborghini, as you say. Obviously, they weren't getting along with it, so that's fine. They forfeit their points. Did you say?
Yeah, forfeit the points they scored. So go back to 0-0 points for them two.
Well, there they go. That's the choice they've made. Fair enough. So all good. We're here at the Snetterton 300. I've got plenty of facts this evening. As you said, big boy Jamie Brazier is this is his home track, as it were. Lives just half an hour away, as you said, Matt. He found me on Facebook and has been messaging me some facts about Snetterton. As we see Emo Guy go, well, just straight on and round in circles. A couple of great donuts, Ian. Well done. He's been messaging me and telling me some facts about Snetterton that I didn't already know. He's loves the place, absolutely loves the place, and if I had a track like Snetterton half an hour from me, I'd love the place too, to be fair. So we're hoping that his love for this track does him well on circuit tonight. So we'll see how that pans out for Big Boy Brazier. Yeah.
Indeed we do. Gary currently on pole at the moment from Andy. D-Big's third, Unorthodox fourth, and Emo Guy actually improved on his time there, even despite a bit of a spin. He's improved his time. He's 12 seconds off the pace. Obviously work still to do for him. Deeks is currently 6th and Fury 7th. They're also away off the current pace setters. Obviously more to come from them guys, as there is 14.5 minutes left in the session. And here is D-Biggs behind one of the new Lamborghinis on the circuit. That's either Deeks or Welshie just in front. I do believe Welshie, I'm not quite sure. As they break into Hamilton, that is, down towards Oggies. Yep, it was Welshie.
Yeah, it was Welshie, yep.
Big Boy Brazier, big job for him tonight, as Little Leach has gone into P5. Sutty's gone 9th place, 28 seconds off the pace though, so again, that must be another lap that is still getting the boots warm on that. Oh, he's gone back into the pit, so I was going to say still getting the boots warm.
Or maybe he's gone for another set.
Yeah. Fresh set of boots on that one maybe, but we'll have to see. Big Boy Brazier, Keegs, Peaceful Explosion, Welshie and AH still not yet to complete a lap time. Welshie has that grid penalty to his name as well, so keep an eye on that one as he just goes wide coming through Brundle and Nelson. And Big Boy Brazier come through the bomb hole in towards Coram now. Will really want to make sure that he can get a good time in here, because Gary a 45.2 and Andy a 45.5. Good 2 laps from them two. Jamie has got his work cut out to gain on them 2 lap times, because no one else is quite close to them.
Yes, you're quite right. It's then gapped then by a second and a bit to the next car. But it's early days, as you say. Got to get the tyres warm, get your hand in a little bit, and see how we go. We're on board with Jamie Brazier at the moment. I thought I'd stay on board with him because he is on a hot lap, his first quick one. Don't let the commentators put you off, Jamie. We don't want to see any mishaps. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him, which is going to, which always puts me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Even the best of drivers kind of get a little bit distracted by traffic in front. So he's got that to deal with. Hopefully, they're moving at a pace that he doesn't catch him, although he might. We will see. But as I said, still plenty of time at the moment to put a good time, and whoever that was got right out of the way, right off the ground.
It was on Ultradubs. He's just dived back into the pits. Who was spanning in front of him?
Mr. Gentleman Racer, wasn't it himself?
Keegs has gone into P8. Little Leach has just gone up into 4th place in his Porsche. Pretty much everybody has set a time bar G and AH. Sutty still 28 seconds off the pace, and Deeks still 12 seconds off the pace. So clearly struggling at the moment to get temperature, or maybe find a gap on the grid to get a good clean lap in. Big Boy Brazier at the moment P10, but like you say a moment ago, he's still getting the tyres warm and getting his hand in. Bit of traffic in front, luckily for him. Dan Span coming through, that was Agostini Span. So Dan managed to return to the pits safely. Obviously on the virtual world it's easy to just push start and go back to the pits. Which gave Big Boy Brazier now a good clean track in front of him. There's a car a bit further in front, but nothing that's hampering his lap time. And he's able to now get a nice lovely clean run in, as that is deep in front. It was currently P3 in his post, 1.6 seconds off the lead lap. G's done a time, but he's 20 seconds off the pace. Sutty's improved. He's gone P12 as someone's just gone even quicker. Deeks has gone up into 7th, and Big Boy Brazier crosses the line and goes P3, half a second, just 6 tenths off of Gary actually. 3.5 tenths behind Andy.
No, that wasn't a bad lap, considering we stayed on board with him, and he seemed to be clean and tidy all over the place. He's now gone back into the pits. So let's move on. Who we got? Peaceful Explosion, who's out in the Mercedes. I haven't driven the Mercedes either, or not for any period of time. I jumped in the Mercedes, probably took it about half a lap and didn't like it. You know how these things go. I should give these cars more chance than that, really. But have you driven the Merc? What's the Merc like, Matt?
I did a hot lap in it last season, and it was very, very horrible. I did one lap.
Good.
I did about 3 laps. It took me 3 attempts to get this clean hot lap in. No, I didn't enjoy it. It is a car you've got to apparently. It's worse on default apparently, so I've been told.
Right.
worse on default and not very nice on the hard tyre, is what I've been informed. But hey, peaceful and G like it.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah. Talking about G, where is the boy? There he is in the other Merc, or in another Merc. Currently in 4th position. He's the only G is if you're new to this. Oh, and as he just lost it on acceleration, the back end stepped out, threw him over the curb. That's the end of that lap. As I was saying, if you're new to watching sim racing, and you're new to watching Simplay or even motive racing, you'll find out that the only G is quite some boy. He's pretty much the benchmark for a lot of these guys. He's quick in whatever formula.
32 world records to his name on the Project
32
Cars.
World records to his name on Project Cars. He's quite the boy, and he does a mean donut on the grass. Lovely. That's as he's just doing his best McDonald's car park impression.
Now it says his time is currently a second slower than Gary. It's actually 0.999, as he is under that 1 second mark. I mean, it's pretty much a second, isn't it? Big Boy Brazier is about to cross the line. Can he improve any more? No, is the answer to that one, man. G went back to the pits. Emo Guy still sat in the pits. We have AH currently down in 15th place, 14 seconds off the back. Sooty Apex, P14. The man who we said last week took the most poles last season and is struggling in qualifying at the moment in the Lamborghini. Unorthodox, though, we're on with now, down in P10. 3.5 off the back of Gary at the moment in for pole position. But he's just a couple of hundredths off the back of Deeks and Emo Guy, and pretty much a second off the back of Peaceful Explosion. So if he can get that Ferrari dialed in, he could be in for a couple of places here.
Absolutely. And again, we're looking forward to some action-packed racing this evening, because there's so many quick guys in this series. I'm still the new boy to this sim racing online stuff, so on and so forth. But you start to learn the characters and who they are and who's quick and who's not. And there's so many good guys in this series. Do you know what I mean? So many people who are good, clean racers, and a win is capable by almost everybody on the grid.
Yeah.
So it is anybody's game.
As Emo Guy's actually just picked up a time penalty. Dan did improve that last lap and goes up to P8. Just a couple of tenths now off the back of Peaceful Explosion. Emo Guy's picked up a grid penalty, so he'll drop to P11 at minimum. He won't now, actually, as who's just gone up? Sooty Apex. We said not qualifying very well, down in P14's just gone into 6th place, so has actually bumped everybody down. While Welshie's still 8 seconds off the back of the 4 seconds off the back of the nearest car. Sooty
got to be having...
finally getting that Lamborghini up where it should be.
Absolutely. Welshie must be having some sort of drama at the moment to be 4 seconds off the back of Fury.
He's just improved. That gap's now gone down to 3 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know if they bolted all the wheels onto his car. Where are we? Oh, well, that'll be partly to do with it, that he's, as he goes back to the pits.
Funny story about Welshie, Kelly, for you. Last season, was in the Pro-Am, got promoted from Pro-Am to Pro. First race of the year last year at Silverstone, he sat there, he's qualified, pole position, first race of the season, and he dropped his controller. And do you know, when you're just about to press continue, you've got, for the guys who's not the host of the lobby, it says return to race central, doesn't it?
Yes, right.
And as he dropped his pad, bang, return to race central, missed the race.
That was it, innit? Because once you've returned to race central, that's it, you're out. You're
spectating that race until the next one. So he'll absolutely murder me for mentioning that. I said I was done with it since he's got the steering wheel. But I just thought I'd fill you in on what you missed last season.
Thank you. Yeah. I like all these facts that embarrass the drivers. It's excellent. Yeah, excellent indeed. Good stuff. Of course, as you say, I mean, some of these guys race with steering wheel and pedals, and some of them still do race on a pad.
Yeah, 2 people I know that raced on the pad in this category. Maybe 3, depending on if he's got the wheel out. Sooty's getting used to the wheel as he's just crossed the line. He's dropped down to P9. Big Boy Brazier is on the pad, and so is AH. So at least 3 guys that are on the pad tonight. Sooty, it depends. I know AH races on pad, and Jamie Brazier is pad definitely. But Sooty, you don't know if he's on the wheel or not.
I bought a wheel about probably 2 years ago now, and I found that I had to relearn how to drive.
Yeah.
You know, everything that you knew on the pad is all completely different when you move to steering wheel and pedals. And to be honest, I wouldn't go back now. Those, you know, I don't know. I haven't driven with a pad for a very long time, and I've no idea how it would feel anymore. But I just feel that steering wheel and pedals makes me feel like that I'm doing the right job. It's the right tools for the right vehicle, you know, for the right machinery. So
completely agree with you.
Yeah, but I did have to learn to drive all over again. It was.
Do you know what? A few people's got the wheel for Christmas, especially in the Pro-Am category. They've got wheel for Christmas and have come from pad to wheel, and they've said in sort of the off-season, learning ready for season 2, that it's like driving. It's like exactly what you said. It's learning to drive again. It's like I'm going back to stage 1. You've came so far on the pad, and then you drop so far back because you've got to relearn it. But the benefits of having that wheel, the more control you get, throttle, brake control, steering control, compared to the pad. By the time you've got it, or you know, you're getting your times close to what you was on the pad, you're a lot more comfortable on the wheel.
Absolutely. And I mean, these things, again, people watching out there, if you've never been involved or you play this game on a pad, it's not overly expensive to make that step to a steering wheel and pedals. You know, there's some good quality budget setups out there. I mean, you can blow your brains out on a, you know, thousands of pounds on a sim rig, and funnily enough, the way that the internet works and all the rest of it, the more of this that I do, the more that my Facebook shows me adverts of pro sim setups and all the rest of it, which are thousands and thousands of pounds. But you don't need to do that. You know, I've got one of the what is mine? The Logic Tech setup. You know, which I think a lot of people use. And as I say, it's reasonably inexpensive to kind of set that up. And for me, I mean, I'm set up in my front room. I'm sat on my sofa playing. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, you don't need a Formula One style setup.
Well, this sort of amplifies what you've just said. Gary last year at Imola, power cut at his house, went to his brother's, raced in an armchair and an ironing board as his desk for his steering wheel. And did relatively well. So, you know, an ironing board, it's not a desk, it's not fastened to the ground, it's going to wobble all over the place, and it's, you know, they're not heavy things that stay on the ground. It was in his brother's in a nice comfy armchair with his monitor mounted on like what looked like a kitchen unit, sort of sat on the kitchen side, and then his steering wheel fastened onto an ironing board. So you don't need fancy sim rigs, you just need a cheap ironing board, an armchair, and your mum or dad's kitchen side. Unless you live at home, tell the wife to mind out the way, because you need to borrow the kitchen side for the television. But you don't need anything fancy like Kelly says.
You don't, and I mean, to get involved, I mean, the game that we're playing, the platform that we're on, Project Cars 2, is old game now, and is you know, very, very cheap to buy or download these days. So it's, you know, people out there who want to get involved, you can reasonably cheaply if you haven't got involved before and you want to have a try. As we see Little Leach go very wide off track. But yeah, get involved. It is great fun. It's great fun. It's the closest thing to being a race car driver without risking your life.
Without risking your life, and without
your
leaving leaving the comforts of your own home as well. You don't.
Yes, indeed.
Unless you want to be like Gary and have a power cut and go to your brother's. That is optional. But I know I wouldn't. Just looking at the times here, Andy got within a tenth of Gary, and then G's gone within 700ths of Gary. Big Boy Brazy is now 2/10 off of Gary, and D Big's improved to within under a second. So the top 5 separated by under a second, as Little Each lost it coming through Coram big time there. He's going to get one more chance in though here with 1:33 on the board. Everybody's pretty much going to get one lap unless they're coming to the end. They may get one extra run in after that. But Keegs has also picked up a grid penalty, so Deeks and Fury could be in for a promotion here. But yeah, Fury's actually just been promoted. He's promoted himself from 12th to 13th as he's gone quicker than Keegs. Andy and Big Boy Brazy within 2.5 tenths of Gary. That is some going in qualifying.
Yes, indeed, absolutely.
And you know the thing is as well, Kelly, you look at the sort of 6th to 10th battle, 7 tenths separate them, so you know, a couple of tenths here or there, and Little Each could find himself 10th, Sutty could find himself P6. the top 5 are close, and then the next 5 are close, and then the 5 after that, you've kind of got Emo Guy and Fury similar times, Keegs and Deeks look similar pace, and Welsh's improved again, but is still a bit off the back of everybody else's times at the moment.
Yes, indeed. We're on board with Sooty Apex. I'm going to try and run you through a lap. I know Snetterton track quite well, but I don't know all the corner names. Incidentally, most of the corner names are all motorsport references. As he goes a little bit wide there on turn 1, as we come down into the right-hander, which is very, very slow. Pick up the apex and power out, go wide as you go out. This is a slightly unsighted, slightly off camber corner. Can catch you out. You think you can take more speed in here than you can. Run to the curb. Short blip along to here now. I believe this is Hamilton, isn't it?
This is Agostini.
Agostini, and then into Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, which is actually my favourite corner of this track. If you get this right, it pays you back lovely. Touch
So
to
rewarding,
the apex,
yeah.
let it run, but if you go out wide, you are sliding all over the place, like we see Sooty do there. This one, that pays you back really well. It's you think it's tighter than it is. This one is Sooty's in the pits again now, so that ruined that, didn't it? So,
yeah.
And we are out of time, aren't we?
We are out of time, so guys who's on their last lap will be coming across line to finish qualifying. Unorthodox has decided to bail out and put it into the pits. This is basically what you haven't seen into Brundle, the left-hander. Got to keep it tight, ready for Nelson into the right-hander. And that is a tricky section of circuit there, Kelly.
Yeah, and then there's the famous bomb hole, and we need to make sure that we pronounce that as best we can. Because that's a terrible name for a corner, really. This bit's tricky. You're going around this corner here. Now, the last corner is almost a 90-degree left.
Yeah.
And you're braking and turning here isn't good. You can unsettle the car, something rotten, before you turn left for that.
And that whole last section, you come through Brundle and Nelson. It's a tricky left-right combination. The bomb hole, it kind of dips on you, doesn't it, as you're coming through it. And then the bomb hole isn't just one corner, it kind of then just goes into Coram, which by the time you sort of come on the exit to Coram, you're pretty much hitting the brakes, like you say, 90 degrees left into Murray's, but you've got to be careful. You don't want to hit the sausage curb, it'll bounce you out wide. You don't want to run out wide. You want to really keep it tight and try and get the nicest, cleanest exit as possible. As we see Big Boy Brazier left the session. He's back in, so he was in for that one. Then qualifying over, and Andy, we missed that at the end. Andy took pole by half a second, by 0.2 of a second there. Andy then on the front row of the grid. What a start to the night for him. We missed that one as we was going through the track layout there, but Andy on pole position, great lap for him. Gary then will settle for second place, just ahead of the only G. Brazier in fourth place with D-Biggs down in fifth, who was 0.8 off of Gary, ended up a second off the back of Andy. Little Each sixth place with AH in seventh. Peaceful Explosion in eighth with an Orthodox ninth. Sooty Apex down in 10th with Emo Guy 11th, but with a grid penalty. Fury 12th with a grid penalty. Keegs 13th with a grid penalty. So I do believe Deeks could end up being 11th after all that. Deeks 14th and Welshie 15th, the two new guys in the Lamborghini with a 2-place grid penalty. So while we just wait for the drivers to ready up, we will be ready to go in this one. But for Andy there, left it late. We obviously missed it. Yeah. 2/10 of a second over Gary when he was a 10th behind him. He found three and a bit tenths on that lap. That must have been a heck of a lap.
Where did he find that? That was he certainly found some time there for sure. So yes, we're going racing in a moment. This is Snetterton circuit. I'll do a little quick bit of facts before the game syncs up. Snetterton in Norfolk was originally an RAF base in 1943. Was RAF Snetterton Heath. Was only an RAF base for about 5 years, was closed as an RAF base in 1948, and then was reopened as a track in 1953, I believe, and lots and lots of history here. We're on the 300 circuit, which was a rebuild in 2010, 2011, where they rebuilt the track. The back half of the track that Matt was just talking about is all the original, but the infield stuff, the early part of the track is all new. It's owned by Jonathan Palmer and folk, some sort of consortium that Jonathan Palmer...
Motorsport Vision, I do believe they're called.
Motorsport Vision, thank you, that was the one. And he owns the track, and as he does a few in the country, and they run the facility. British Superbikes and the British touring cars come here regularly. A couple of years ago, a fantastic battle between Jason Plato and Ash Sutton, which was an absolute joy to watch. If you ever get 5 minutes, I think it's 2018, go back and look at that. Ash Sutton doing things with the car that just beyond belief.
Seeing as we mentioned Plato, can we just say that Matt Neal won the double length race that they did for the 60th touring car race here as well? Just want to get that one in next. We've got Plato.
Okay.
As the revs rise briefly, then it's lights out and away we go here for the first race. It's Snetterton 300. Good start from Andy, Gary and G. Big Boy Brazier as well, getting away quite equally there as they head down towards turn 1 into the first corner. There you go, and everybody looks like they got away quite cleanly through there. Second part of the track, that's the important bit, the hairpin, late braking, but where do you look to make a move early doors? As Brazier up the inside of G, and he catches Gary. Yeah, Brazier tapped the back of Gary there. There's Gary round. Emo guy looks like he's been caught up. Keegs got done at the start, and Gary's gone from P2 all the way down to the back of the field. Kelly in 2 corners. Just late on the brakes was Jamie Brazier, and he just tapped the back of Gary round.
Absolute disaster, and that's what happens in the first corner. So poor old Gary from the front right to the back, he's got work to do now. As Andy is pulled himself a little gap already. He's trying to get away while he can, because D Biggs and everybody else is right behind him. G hassling the back of D Biggs as they are still only halfway round the track. These lot have all just now coming onto the main straight. The main straight now, and as I say, into the back onto the older part of the circuit, and under this bridge in this tricky last section, but Andy's got a second and a half in hand.
Indeed he has, as they come into Brundle and Nelson now. D-Biggs up to second place with with G hassling the back of him, and really hassling the back. Oh, Peaceful's got Brundle and Nelson wrong. A Peaceful explosion off in the background. There's one of the Lamborghinis as well. It's Welshie who is also off. Gary having a bit of a tap with Keegs. Gary's already back up into 9th place at the moment, so a stellar first lap. Well, a bit of a mixture of a first lap. He had the problem, and then he's worked his way through the grid already. Unorthodox Emo guy and Big Boy Brazy. What's happened to Big Boy Brazy? He stayed down. I didn't notice he dropped that far down the order. He's just in front of Unorthodox, down in P13. So not the first lap. He didn't want to. Gary gets around the outside of Peaceful. Yep. I reckon Peaceful. Yep. We said how much that last corner you've got to get a good exit. Peaceful clearly didn't there.
No, he didn't, and Gary just drove right the way round him. Gary obviously on a charge now. He's got the bit between his teeth after that first lap incident. I say first lap, when he just started the second one. So Gary's still got a lot of work to do, but he's made up, what did he make? Like 7 or 8 places back up from the back, and he's crucially cleared this battle of about 6 cars from Big Boy Brazier up through Welshie and Sooty Apex and all the dubs. As someone else goes wide, I didn't see who that was.
Peaceful again, just on the grass.
Yes. And where are we? And the only G's got past D Biggs for second place, and he's got Andy in his sights now. We didn't see that. We didn't see what happened. But all action up and down the field.
All action already in this race. To start with, Andy's lost it! Coming through Williams, Andy's lost it. G had to avoid him and took to the grass. D Biggs is going to fly past him. The momentum down that straight is so important. And G lost out big time there as Andy had spanned the car. He's down to P7. Has he got it going? I believe he has, as he's managed to stay in front of Gary. Gary now up into 8th place. But what dramas here. Just as we was on about Andy and G just starting to break away from the rest of the pack, Andy loses it coming through Williams. G then had to take avoiding action, and this man D Biggs leads this race early doors. Lap 2, we're coming to end it. We're going to get into lap 3 as we've lost someone from the session. We've lost Big Boy Brazier. Is he having the internet problems that we know he's had in the past? He won't score points here. You need to get to lap 14 to score points, so he's not going to score a drop here in this first race. G though hassling the back of D Biggs as we go on board from the bonnet cam. And look at G, just biding his time, nice and patiently. Good driving from both these guys. D-Biggs goes defensive earlier. There's the scary tree just looking at turn 2 with its arms in the air, waving like they just don't care. Is G round the outside? D-Biggs, just pushing him a bit wide there.
Yeah. All right, girls, be careful.
Yeah, handbags away.
Yeah. As you can see, we're on board with G, and he's chasing D-Biggs down. He's right behind him. Never ceases to amaze me the amount of control that sim racers and real racers have this close when you're following a car behind. Yeah, and another cheeky little Matt Neal there as we go round. Was that Agostini? Was it?
It was, yeah, it threw
and into Hamilton. This I believe is an overtaking opportunity just here. As look, G comes back to the inside. Nice move down the inside. Oh, where's Big Z? Let's. I
think Big Z's tucked in behind him. Yeah. Gets a bit out of shape. Did he tap the back of G? I'm not quite sure. He was very, very close to tapping the back of G, but G just lovely cutback from him and up the inside of D Biggs through Williams onto the Bentley straight. They go now as they head down towards Nelson and towards Brundle and Nelson. I always get them to the opposite way around. We saw last week at Nürburgring, G had such a lead in race 1 but span a couple of times in race 1 and 2 that cost him at the end. AH has just got up into 4th, ahead of Deeks behind. That's Andy and Fury trying to gain on them as well. Andy on the grass, all over the grass. He's got Gary, as Jamie Brazy has just commented, his internet has gone again, so he's having problems. We thought he'd sorted this out last season, but no, still having the problems as they come round Coram towards Murray's. There's a bit of a train forming from AH down towards Gary 131 then, and AH at the moment, I think he passed Deeks coming through Brundle and Nelson, so maybe he'll start to pull away from that little group and try and hunt down the back of Little Each just in front. But G's already 1.7 out front. What a start from him since he's got past D Biggs. He's done absolute bits at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. And this is probably the best battle on track at the moment. These guys all in really close.
Look at Gary.
Gary trying to have a look down the inside of Andy. And again, a little bit of handbags there as they push and shove each other.
He's done him.
Yeah, Gary's got in front of Andy.
Oh, had a bit of a slide coming through the corner. Yeah, I thought Gary looked a bit sideways coming through the corner as if the rear end wanted to step out. And Gary looks on it here, looks like a man possessed after his second corner incident. Gary really could be the man to watch in this first race. In the top 7 now, obviously, 15 drivers started this race. Jamie will be back for race 2, but even if there's only 14, the top 7 cannot qualify. So at the minute, Gary will not be qualifying for race 2, but I'm sure he will not mind that one as he's...
I'm sure
who's that? Fury! Fury's just binned it coming through Oggies in towards Williams, and Fury still not got going yet. He's lost out to Keegs. Has he lost out to Sutty? We'll have to wait and see. Big Boy Brazy in the chat as well. Sorry to Gary. He obviously knows he was in the wrong there. Looks like Fury got going just before Sutty could get to him. But Gary up in front of Andy. And I said AH passed Deeks last lap. Deeks hasn't been dropped by AH here. He's kind of keeping with him.
Yes, indeed. And these guys, as I say, still in very close contact. What happened to Dan? Dan's right down at the bottom.
We didn't. That was early doors. He was down the bottom, I noticed, but we didn't see what happened to him. So I don't know if he got caught up in that drama at turn 2 on the first lap.
Just looking at his lap times there, he did a 2:01 in the last lap. So that's 10 seconds off the kind of sensible pace, you know. So I don't know what happened to him. Something we missed off camera, I suppose. As we continue on, there's someone in the pits already. AH in the pits.
AH in the pits.
Pit lane is open, isn't it? Lap 5.
No, lap 6. Pit lane's open.
Lap
so
6.
AH, obviously, you can pit if you've got substantial damage and the car's not drivable. But we saw AH was P4. Now, unless AH had a moment, or has he had a drive-through?
Maybe, because he was in and out quickly.
Yeah. So was that a drive-through penalty?
Sorry, Matt. Look at Gary. He's up to 4th.
Was just about to comment on that one. I saw on the standings there before you turned to him. Gary up to P4. He is driving like a man possessed.
Yes, he certainly is. We probably shouldn't talk about him for too long because in a minute he'll be spinning it round. Only joking, Gary. Don't do it.
This man,
Sutty. Who else is close?
He's on the back of Fury. Fury obviously got going before Sutty could come round. But for Sutty, Apex... runner-up last year in the Pro, obviously a lot of quicker guys coming into this series today. Sutty might, as well as him learning the wheel, maybe looking at a midfield sort of running this season. That's currently where he is, P9 out of 14 finishes at the moment. We did have 50 starts, obviously running on his own tonight. His teammate's not here, he's working the night shift. So Sutty Apex on his own, and what can he do? He hunts down the Ferrari of Fury. One thing that Sutty will always say is that he's got no front downforce on that Lamborghini because it has it doesn't let you change the downforce. It's at 0 and that is it. There is no front downforce setting on the Lamborghini.
All right.
He'll always bug me and remind me about that. But let's see what he can do here. He may not need the front downforce down the 2 straights. He should fly down them and get on the back of Fury. That is Keegs just ahead of Fury up into P7. Unorthodox then didn't pit but has lost out to Welshie, but did a better lap last time around. So he's lost out to Welshie, but actually set a faster lap last time around than Welshie by a fair few seconds. Has he had another problem this lap, as he looks well off the back of Welshie? Say he was 4 seconds quicker last time around.
Oh yeah, he doesn't seem to be holding any real damage as such, and his lap times are back where they should be in the 149s.
There you go, a 53. So maybe just a mistake that lap then, Kelly.
Yeah, maybe he's saving himself for race 2. I don't know. Could be.
We'll have to wait to see what Unorthodox will do later in this race. G 3.6 out front. Peaceful's past Emo Guy, and Emo Guy's going to still hunt him down in that Lamborghini. 8 Lamborghinis on the grid, although 2 of them are missing. Big Boy Brazier and Phil not on the grid, as Big Boy Brazier's internet connection disconnected him, and Phil, obviously, like I say, not here tonight. But we still have 6 other Lamborghinis, and Peaceful Explosion in his Merc has just pulled a bit of it. He got a better run through Agassini and got a good bit of a gap on Emo Guy there. Gary now catching up to the back of his brother. And Kelly, we saw over at the Motive Racing channel, these two came to blows at Austria at the Red Bull Ring the other week. And had a bit of a touch. Let's hope nothing of that comes to sort here, because Gary's on a mission. He's a lot quicker than his brother, so surely team orders will come into play.
Absolutely, and I believe that is Gary team leader. These guys are the same team as we just pushed out. They're also brothers, aren't they? Being that I believe that Gary is the older brother.
Gary is the older brother, yeah.
He's the littler one.
Well,
and Little Leach did go a little bit wide on the last corner anyway, and I don't know if that was a little bit of moving out the way for Big Bro anyway. Because as you say, Gary is on a mission now, but he's 9 seconds off the lead, so he's going to have to keep going. There's plenty of laps to go.
Well, plenty of time. Pit stops as well. He's got about 5 seconds to D Big, 5.5 seconds to D Biggs. So he can catch on D Biggs, as he is doing at the moment, quite rapidly. That time's come down half a second from the hairpin to turn 3, although it just increases slightly now. But Gary, like we've said since lap 1, is kind of possessed here, and he looks like he's just driving the heck out of that Porsche and really looking to get on the podium. We saw him last week leading at Nürburgring in race 1, Kelly, and he threw that one away by making a mistake and then having a really long pit stop that nearly put him a lap down. He's again had a bad race 1 here. He's got to shake the cobwebs off of race 1 and get it back into race 2. We saw him take the race 2 win last week. Race 1 just doesn't seem to be Gary's thing at the moment.
No, indeed. But as I said, there is still a little way to go before the end of this race. So still anything can happen. So we'll have to keep a watching brief on that one and see how he pulls down the gap to D Biggs. Let's move on to who else are close.
Look at this battle. Sooty Apex Fury just in front of him, and they're gaining on Keegs as well.
They certainly are. So probably one of the best battles, though. Andy's quite close to the back of Deeks. Yeah. So Andy's reeling him back in after having a cracking good start to this race, and then just losing the back end, and it can go from hero to zero really, really quickly. One
thing I've noticed, Kelly, is Dan's back up to 12th now. He's passed Welshie, and AH has passed Welshie as well. So Unorthodox back up into P12. And 10 seconds off the back of Emo Guy. Still half this race to go, so he's still got time to try and gain on Emo Guy. Pit window is open, so we should expect to see guys in, as he's very wide at the exit to Nelton. And AH up the inside into the bomb hole. Watch for that dip. You don't want to be too far out wide as you go through that dip. It can really sort of throw the car off balance as you go through it.
Absolutely. It can really, that bomb hole, as you drop the bottom of it and come out the other side, the back end will just goes loose, and and it's really easy to drop it just there. As
he's pitting.
Unorthodox goes into the pits.
So the end of lap 7 for him, he's coming into the pits.
Let's see if it's a routine one. It's looking like it.
I'm guessing it should just be an in and out sort of job here.
Yeah, as you can see, the Project Cars 2 mechanics there in their funky Daft Punk type outfit tonight.
They brought the tyres out and he didn't even change them.
No, that's it. They stood there, did very little, waved the flag at him, and away he went again.
away he went. Maybe topped up the car with a bit of fuel. We'll have to wait and see. As Keegs has been overtaken by both Sutty and Fury, and Fury has lost out. Fury's not actually gained any positions here because Sutty's got past Keegs. It's as if Sutty and Keegs have just sort of swapped cars at the moment and had a quick paint job on the other Lamborghinis, because Fury's still 8th, but Sutty's now 7th, and Keegs is down in 9th place. But they've got a Peaceful Explosion on the back of them trying to charge him down, and Peaceful looks like he's starting to get to grips with his Mercedes now with full setups. What's happened to Andy? Andy has just been overtaken by... Yeah, he wasn't there a minute ago. I wonder if he's had a problem coming into Brundle and Nelson, and there's... that's a strange one.
Well, yeah, I didn't see any of that at all, as you didn't, Matt. But I was trying to look at the comments. As there's so many things to look at in this game, isn't there? You know, there's it's not as easy as just sitting here and chatting. You know, you have to look at more than one thing at a time. And as a few people come into the pits.
Oh, who is that? Andy, Fury, and I think Peaceful Explosion. Yeah, so at the end of lap 8, Andy's in the pits. So is Fury.
Don't run your mechanics.
So is Peaceful. Andy's got Fury. Fury was parked in the
wrong pit lane.
Oh, look at that from the class of '97 guys. Andy in and out, and Emo Guy managed to get in the pits on the same lap. So well done to them. Andy, Fury, and Emo Guy all pitting. Andy's the Lamborghini pit crew of class of '97. Emo Guy and Andy's pit crew did an absolute blinding job. Andy in and out as Fury was parked in the wrong pit box for a little bit. Yeah. And then Fury in and out on the same lap. Normally, if you don't get it quite right, Emo Guy would have just ended up doing a drive-through penalty, but the team have done a blinder there.
Wow, it's unlike these mechanics to do anything fantastic. So, hey, every dog has its day and all that, doesn't it? So,
I'll tell you one man who's really lost out there, though, is Fury, parked in the wrong pit box. Oh, who's that just behind? That's Welshie just behind them. Oh, yeah, they're down in P11 and 10 now. Fury parked in the wrong pit box, wrong team's pit box. And that's why he's lost out to Peaceful Explosion. Keegs has now got past him as well. Although, no, Keegs didn't pit, did he? No, Keegs didn't come in. Andy as well. AH was the first car to pit. He's P8. Andy down in 9th. Peaceful 10th. Fury 11th. Welshie 12th. Although I've not seen Welshie in the pits at the moment. I imagine when he pits, he'll come out around about the same part as Dan, or maybe a bit further back.
Yeah, Fury doing a bit of a Jenson Button. Jenson Button did that one, didn't he? With pulled up to the wrong pit box and then had to go to the next one along. Yeah,
first season at Mercedes, wasn't it? Or one of his first races at Mercedes. Yeah, and he pulled into the McLaren pit box.
Yeah, that's it. So it happens. You're in good company, Fury, and I know Jenson Button's watching because he normally does. Yeah, you know. So him, Ross Brawn, Lewis Hamilton, Vettel, they all watch. They all watch every night. So we're all in good company. Hello to anybody who is. I know Lewis has been watching this at Motive because if he doesn't sign for Mercedes, I've heard rumours that it could be here or at Motive Racing. So we'll have to wait and see. As Keegs is in the pits at the end of lap 9. Yeah, look at that. They seem to have a tyre with no wheel in the middle of it there. Just a random tyre, you know.
It's a bit of rubber.
Just and the guy's just going to take that back in again, I think. So
what it was just there for him to lean on, if you noticed. It was just there for him to lean on, so he didn't have to stand there and get a... We'd hate for these guys to stand about and start getting aches and pains. As Keegs has dropped down to last place. So a bit of a long pit stop for Keegs as he was in the battle with Fury. Oh, as Fury loses it coming through the hairpin corner. And he's really lost it now trying to rejoin. Yeah, really lost it. Jamie Brazier might not make race 2. Internet not working properly. Oh, on his home circuit.
Poor Jamie.
That is not what you want.
Also, you'll like this one. What also, Jamie's just about to get into more trouble because he told me when he was chatting to me on Messenger that the rebuild of this circuit in 2011, when it was all rebuilt, he told me to mention that his missus thought it was rebuilt in 1954. So, to name a corner Hamilton might be quite tricky considering it was, about 50 years before he was born, So, Jamie's probably getting a clip round the ear right now for grassing on his missus, Probably. So
Fury's wide again.
Fury again, yeah.
Struggling to rejoin here. He won't want to spin because there's his teammate on the outside, and an Autodub's up into P12 now.
Yes, indeed. As you see the FU Racing boys coming round together, unfortunately in 12th and 13th, but they look good Ferraris look nice.
Yeah, they look fantastic to the Ferraris. Nice to have Ferrari on the grid this year. The first time we've seen the Ferrari here at Simplay Motorsport on the grid. Top 6, not yet pitted. And when do they pit? Gary's not really caught to D-Biggs like I thought he was going to. D-Biggs has kind of responded to Gary's times. But look at G in the 45s. No one's getting close to that kind of time at the moment. As Welchie pits for his first pit stop of the race. So that's going to put him down the back of the grid at the end of lap 10. He in the pit. Oh, G, very wide there.
G goes wide there, yeah, as he comes down into bomb hole there. I was going to try and stay on board with him for a lap. Be just my luck that he decides to pit. This is his tricky last corner. You're touching the brakes here and trying to send the car in a different direction as well, and just get the good traction as you come out the corner. He's going to... No, he's not going to pit. Thank you, G. So as you can see, across the first start-finish straight, we'll see the scary tree is just here somewhere, is it not?
Just round turn 1, the exit to turn 1.
Yeah, another one that Jamie Brazier told me about was the scary tree.
There it is.
One that looks like a 15-foot spectator who's got his arms in the air. There he is, scary tree. But apparently it blew over a few years ago. So
last January.
Last January, the scary tree blew over. So what a great little fact. It's better than the toilet ones, isn't it? You know. Although I'm sure Snetterton's got great toilet facilities. Jamie was telling me about that one. He also told me that Snetterton used to be the home of one of the biggest toy shops in the country. The Big Shop, apparently. Yeah, but, interesting fun fact. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore, which, is a shame, because...
I've just noticed... Sorry to butt in, Kelly. I've just noticed Gary's pitted from P3 and has came out. They was that far ahead of Sutty. Sutty may not gain any extra places in this race, as Gary's came out P5 ahead of Sutty Apex. Albeit a couple of seconds, but Sutty could be in trouble when everybody else in front of him pits, because Gary's done his pit stop and, like I say, has managed to stay in front of Sutty Apex. So well clear of that which means D-Biggs and G will be well clear of that. I don't know about Little Leach and Deeks, if they'll be well clear of Sutty. We'll have to wait to see when they pit. Here's a battle on track between AH and Andy. Kelly, I'll let you carry on.
Oh, no, it's not a problem, Matt. I was pretty much talking rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So,
I'll tell you one thing I remember about his track while you was on about facts. Do you remember the other year, Hunter Abbott in the Power Maxed, I think Chevrolet, off the start line, got clipped and ended up rolling into the scaffolding on the outside of the start straight. Do you remember that one?
Out. Yeah.
Do you remember that? That was a nasty one.
Yeah, it took one of the... I mean, there's always action in touring car, but that was one of the really weird ones, wasn't it? Yeah, he kind of hopped the fence and took the scaffolding down.
What was strange about it is they obviously wasn't up to racing speed. It was off the line, wasn't it? So it wasn't like they'd... So someone had come together at racing speed. Andy has a problem coming through Brundle and Nelson then, and he's going to tuck back in behind AH as he loses out a bit of time.
Take a slowdown, isn't he? Is he going to take a slowdown on that one?
Yeah, I think he's. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. Deeks though pits at the end of lap 12. But yeah, that was a real nasty one. Say he wasn't up to racing speed.
No, that was definitely a crazy one. I remember seeing that one live. Live on TV. Talking about crazy incidents, do you remember the Porsche one at Thruxton? Oh God, we are going back probably a decade or more. The Porsche GT3 race where the just coming into the chicane, or on the exit of the chicane, one of the GT3s rolled and basically rolled and tumbled, went straight over the top of the fence.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Do you remember that one?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Me and Daniel were there when that happened.
Oh, lovely.
We were standing there when this Porsche GT3 basically hopped over an 8-foot fence. As we see Gary getting, come on Gary, hold it together. Got a real tank slapper on.
Really did.
Yeah,
he's done well to make sure that hasn't gone round. Endace just said, didn't he knock the cameraman off his perch? He did, if I remember rightly.
The cameraman had to jump off,
leapt off the scaffolding. No injuries, luckily. There was one GT4's touring cars not kill. If I remember rightly, it was Tom Ingram in the GT4. Didn't get going off the line. And not kill the start line. The leaders are pointed downhill, then mid-pack are sort of on the hill, and them at the back are uphill, aren't they?
Yes, indeed.
And as they got going, Tom Ingram's car stalled, I think, and was stuck on the line, and someone from the back of the grid couldn't see him, and bang, made a mess of that GT4. And
it's not the I mean, as you can see, these two we're chit chatting about old races, but Andy's just put a move on just before the just under the bridge as they went through there. It's a brave spot to try and do that just there.
It is.
Again, referencing touring car a couple of years ago, and Plato turned Sutton round just there when they were fighting in that epic race a couple of years ago.
Plato turned somebody round. I don't believe you. I don't
good old Jay.
You.
Good old Jason Plato. Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Jason. I know you're watching. You and Matt will be sitting there and having a cup of tea together and
best buds now, aren't they? Best buds since they did the old the interview on YouTube the other week. Best buds now. D Biggs has pitted.
Since they've all been rubbish. Since then,
nothing to fight for, so we'll make friends. D Biggs and Sir Little Eats pitted on the last lap, and D Biggs has came out really close to Gary. Gary looks like he's now could be in for a second place. G still to pit at the moment. Just looking at my notes, G and Sutty, the only two left to pit. Sutty's up to P4, but obviously will not finish. So he's got to pit.
Gary's made good ground on D Biggs, then, hasn't he?
Made great ground. Whether a long pit stop or just undercutting, working better for Gary. He's made some great ground on D Biggs.
Yes, absolutely, because he's right in the hunt for that again now. So we'll try and keep an eye on that the best we can. Again, those of you who don't know how these systems work, we only get an opportunity to see what's in front of us. We don't have a fancy studio. In fact, we're not even in the same part of the country.
No.
We do the best we can to follow the action the best we can. And we'll keep an eye on this one. Indeed, both these guys in the Porsche GT3, which can be a handful at times.
Yeah.
The 911 as a road car is the real thing. Is well known for being a bit of a handful. So not that I've ever driven one, but
I just want to ask, what's happened to Andy? He was ahead at AH. He's down to P9. I'm looking on my timing screen. Andy behind his teammate Emo guy down in P9. What has happened there? Maybe a spin or something. Not quite sure. It doesn't look like he's got much damage on that car. That car looks quite intact. Maybe just a spin. Yeah, just a spin somewhere maybe.
See what his lap time comes up when he comes round. Oh, Andy, where you going?
Oh, he's clipped the tyre wall there. Terrible exit from the last corner. And Andy, obviously regular commentator with me here on the Pro-Am, just struggling this lap maybe.
Yeah.
What's his time? What's the time as he crosses the line?
Having a bit of a shocker he is, for certain.
A 2:09, so a really bad lap for Andy there. Then the guys are all on the 14th lap, so they've all made race distance at the moment. This battle between Gary and D Biggs though hotting up with Sutty Apex and G still the only two cars yet to pit, but this battle for P2. And I tell you what, watching last night, Kelly, this section of the track here through Williams onto the Bentley Straight with the rain was absolutely horrific. The puddle that formed on the inside and sort of across the track as G comes into the pits was absolutely horrific, and it was catching a lot of drivers out. G then, look at that, the lollipop's man's not even stood in front of the car and G's finished his pit stop. So well done the pit crew well done Forever Forward Racing pit crew there for getting him out. The cameramen there, they're doing a great job. They're all five of them spread out 2 metre distance and all.
Yeah, bless them.
The ambulance crew aren't there with no face masks, bless them. As we come through then the first corner, G on lap 16 doing absolute bits in this race, but this the main battle at the moment between Gary and D Biggs for the second and third spots on the podium. I don't think they're going to be caught in this one, and I don't think they're going to catch G for the race win. G will make it 2 race wins out of 3 if he can win it. Sutty Apex pits as well, so let's see where Sutty Apex comes out the pits then. How many places is he going to lose? There goes Little Leach and AH. The teammates, Shaker Bacon, Leach Motorsport, the other guys battling then for 4th and 5th as Sutty's away. A lot of wheel spin as he leaves his pit box. You don't need to put the rubber down now, Sutty, mate. It's not a Formula 1 race where you need to lay the rubber early doors to make sure it's grippy when you do come in for your stop. Oh, he's only lost the 2 spots then. Comes out P6. So not a bad pit stop for Sutty Apex.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all.
But Leach sorry, go on.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, you go on, Matt.
I was just about to say, so the 2 teammates of Gary and D Biggs battling for 4th and 5th as these two are battling for 2nd and 3rd. So it's Leach Motorsport versus Shake and Bake Motorsport for both battles on track at the moment, although this one being the closer battle of the 2. AH trying to hunt down Little Leach there, you see. Just looking at the other times on the screen, Andy and Unorthodox looks a close battle as well at the moment. Apart from that one and this one, that one and the Gary one, there's not much between the other guys. Quite a bit spread out at the moment.
Couple of guys having some shockers. Andy having a shocker. Dan having a shocker.
Yeah.
Keegs is... we don't know what's going on with Keegs.
Yeah, struggling.
Yeah. As I say, a few guys having a bit of a shocker. Again, Ian, Emo Guy, he's usually up a bit further up the sharp end. But, yeah, someone's got to be at the front and someone's got to be at the back, haven't they? You know, that's
the case, isn't it? That's the way it works.
Yes, indeed.
I've just noticed here, though, Kelly, 18 seconds was the gap between G, Gary and D Biggs earlier. It's now down into the 12-second mark. Has G made a mistake? You see, a 158. Yeah. Was that his out? No, that wasn't his outlap. He pitted at the end. No, it was his outlap. Sorry, from the pit. So no,
it must have just all sorted itself out then, because he's just done. His last lap was a 158.
Yeah.
Being outlap from the pits. Always Gary goes very wide, hops across the curve. Won't lose too much speed there, but just keeping that concentration. Let's
D Biggs.
Let's go on. Try and go on board.
Into Agostini he goes. He's really trying to get on the back of D Biggs, on the camera of the bonnet of Gary 131. Then as they see coming to Hamilton here.
Into Hamilton.
D Biggs! D Biggs! Oh! Gary takes a void in action there and just inches away from clipping the back of D Biggs. D Biggs then just getting a bit hot coming through Hamilton, and you saw the back end just step out and come around him. Gary 131 up here. D Biggs has not put a foot wrong in this race. He sort of got overtaken by G and it's been good so far, and that's the first mistake, and that's really allowed Gary now to get P2 and probably clinch second place. He's on the podium still, though, is D Biggs, so not a bad race for himself. And it's a shame to have that battle prematurely end.
Yes, I mean the saving grace for D Biggs there was that he is a long way in front of Little Leach, so you know he's still on the podium and he hasn't lost, you know, gone from like second to ninth or whatever. But unfortunate. And I said, you just put a wheel out of Hamilton. You just put a wheel on that outside curb, just off the curb and onto the grass. It'll turn you round straight away.
It really will. G then on his final lap, and you've just gone to the man I was about to say. Emo Guy Peaceful and Sooty Apex could be one to watch as we come to the dying parts of this race. We'll obviously cut to G at the end, towards the end of the lap a bit later on. But this battle at the moment, 3, 4, 6th place here. We'll also keep an eye on Little Leach and AH as they seem to get a bit closer with each other. But this man has not put a foot wrong this race. Could have got caught up in that turn 2 incident on lap 1, didn't, and he's managed to just pull away into the distance ever since.
Yes, indeed. He's some boy. Is our only G. He's been playing the team LH role, and looking to sign his £40 million deal from Mercedes. Incidentally, in a Mercedes tonight as well, which
strange one, Kelly. Sorry to interrupt. Unorthodox has pitted.
Okay.
On the penultimate lap. I mean, I can only assume that's what he's. Yeah, I can only assume that's what he has done, because why would you pit this late on? Keegs has just gone past him. G though was coming through the final couple of corners into the bomb hole he is there. Look, through it into Coram, and G's not going to throw it away from here. He's been a man on a mission. 2 race wins from 3 at the moment. He'll start in the reverse grid race towards the back of the field. But this man, the only G, you hear the fans just clapping gently there. He's coming down the start straight, and for a second time this season here at Simplay Motorsport, the only G, as he slides. What is he doing there?
Could have just done a little bit longer, can you?
Oh, he's going to do it in reverse. He's going to be a bit cocky there and do it in reverse. He's had the time over Gary. He finishes this race in the lead in reverse over the line. Gary 131.
The FIA ain't have a word about that.
Yeah, they would. Gary 131, second place. What a race for him after what happened at the opening lap. D Biggs, good race for third. Bar one mistake cost him a chance at second, really. And AH, his teammate, has actually done Little Leach on the last lap here. AH has got up into P4 and looks like he's going to keep P4 from Little Leach. So Little Leach loses out on the last lap. AH takes 4th with Little Leach 5th. Peaceful has passed Sooty Apex for P6. I said this was a battle to keep our eyes on. Sooty's lost out to Peaceful then. And I don't think he's going to do it from that far as they come down the final stretch. So it looks like Peaceful will take a P6 with Sussy Apex coming home in P7 then. Emo Guy, whoa.
Oh, you haven't got across the line yet, Ian. Quick,
no, he's not done that one right. He's tried to do it in style. Oh, what has happened there?
Oh, we're
I think we'll leave that one. Yeah.
yeah.
Andy's actually crossed the line in 8th, it says.
Yeah.
As I'm not sure what happened on Emo Guy. Peaceful's just commented in the chat saying he sent it on Sutty. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Keegs will cross the line P9 now. Emo Guy will get 10th. No, he won't. Unorthodox will get 10th. Emo Guy's actually he's had to retire from the race. So, I mean, we'll classify Emo Guy as I don't know where we should classify him. We'll have to speak about that one in the admin chat. So Emo Guy will get classified 14th at the moment. Andy then crossed the line 8th. Keegs gets P9. Not the race Keegs would have wanted, I'm sure. I'm sure he'll be back in race 2 to carry on his momentum. 10th place for Unorthodox. Not the race he'd have wanted neither, coincidentally. No. Welshie will get 13th. Where did Deeks finish in that race? Down in 11th after what was a good start, few opening laps that race. And Fury will cross the line at P12 then. Fastest lap of the race, I can only assume, was the only G. Gary says that was hard work. But Michael Matthews sent it on Sutty. That'll be one that Sutty will never live down here. Brill move, Peaceful, had no grip for the cutback. Well done, G, says Gary. I'm not quite sure what we're waiting on here. Race is complete. I'm not quite sure what we are waiting on. I do believe G set the fastest lap of the race. He was in the 45s at one stage. We're hopefully going to get the screen back to normal. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get some guys in for an interview in just a moment. While we do that...
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized
myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up and then I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like 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 Give it to me like
going to go back live in a minute.
And we're live.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport. We've got Big Boy Brazier back in the session. And we've got the top two from the race one. We could get D-Biggs in. He's not yet got a microphone for his PlayStation. It's on order, apparently. But we're joined by the top two, the Oli G and Gary131. Gary, I want to start with you. Crazy first lap, seeing you drop from 2nd to 15th, and you managed to pull it back from there.
Yeah, just got my head down and tried to get as much place as I can. Otherwise, G's going to get a bigger gap at the top of the table, and we can't be having that.
You really was on a mission lap one. It sort of was a lap of two stories, really. You made your way up the grid quite easily after you'd had your spin, and obviously the spin itself, D-Biggs at the end, was a cracking little battle, and he just seemed to lose the rear, which kind of gifted you second place.
Yeah, it nearly took me out as well.
Yeah.
No, I thought I'd get my head down. I was happy with third, to be fair, after obviously the turn 2 incident, and then got my head down and thought I'll just stay on him. If he makes a mistake, I'll pick up the pieces. If not, fair play. He weren't making it easy for me, so.
I said to Kelly in the commentary box that your problems were race one last week with the wrong setup, and you had your spin. Problem race one this week. It seems to be your unlucky omen, if you like, so far the first race of the night. Are you going to win the second race like you did last week?
We'll give it a best shot. I always try my best, but obviously circumstances, what happens on the track, sometimes you can't help it, other times you load the wrong setup and make an absolute hash of it, so yeah, we'll try and go forward as much as we can.
Well, best of luck, mate. Good luck going into race 2.
Cheers,
Gary,
yes?
just tell me a little bit about the GT3 on this track. Is it suited to this track at Snetterton?
That's a hard one, really. I like the track, so anything around here suits me. So other people might find it tricky, but
okay. Are you getting on quite well generally with the GT3? Because it can be a bit of a handful, can't it, at times?
Yes, it's not too. I'm more of a track person rather than a car person. I worry more about the track than what I'm driving. What
you're driving, right? You are, yeah. Okay. Well, good luck. Good luck in the second. We'll look forward to watching you.
Yep. All right, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, Gary. Then G, race winner, 2 out of 3 race wins, and he did it in style, backwards over the line, a bit like Ricky Bobby in a way from Talladega Nights. G, that one was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't get a good quali position, but Gary got taken out into turn 1, and then Andy spun it a few turns later.
Yeah, quite lucky, quite fortunate in the way that Andy led the race and he span. Gary got turned around at turn 1. D-Biggs led, and you just managed to get past him and didn't look back in your rear view mirror after you kind of cleared him.
No, he was there for a few laps, but I don't know if he had the consistency.
You was the only man in the 45s, took the fastest laps. You get the extra point for that one. Obviously, 32 world records to your name. You just kind of on another level at the moment, aren't you? Just kind of race one seems to be your thing. Reverse grid, not as easy as you found last week at Nürburgring, coming through to third, although you got on the podium, but race one seems to be your thing at the minute, up the top order in qualifying, and then seems to just get your head down in the race. And obviously, luck got your way. You could have easily clattered with Andy or Gary and Jamie on the first couple of laps, but luck went your way this race.
Yeah, as long as any of the quick guys are in the top 8 that can't qualify.
Top 7 for this one.
Top 7, yeah. I'm okay. I think Andy can qualify as well.
Andy can qualify,
Andy. Yeah, we're watching Andy at the moment.
I'm not too worried. Yeah, I'm not too worried about him. He'll bin it in the first few laps.
Well, looking at the leaderboard, you'd actually start second, just behind Sooty Apex. Second. You'd actually start 9th, just behind Sooty Apex, if I'm correct in guessing that. Sooty cannot qualify now, so yeah, you'd just start behind Sooty Apex. So actually, the luck of the draws favoured you.
I'd rather start at the back, to be honest.
Well, that's where your teammates started.
Yeah, just avoid all the turn 1 incidents.
Well, you lead the championship. Go on, Kelly.
No, yeah. So, gee, sorry, I was just interested. As I said, you've got multiple world records to your name on this track. You're a multiple champion on this game, should I say? And you know, commentating and following both Simplay and Motive, you're chalking up race wins left, right, and centre. Do you do anything else but play Project Cars?
Yes. ACC.
ACC
let me
Formula
rephrase
1.
the question. Let me rephrase the question, G. Do you do anything but play racing games?
Bit of Siege, bit of
Right.
work for Motive, and then that's pretty much it right now.
Excellent. So
Jeez.
making the most of lockdown then.
He's a true racer, is G. He's a true racer.
Absolutely.
Lives and breathes
Am
it.
am I right? I might be completely wrong with my facts here, but as an Andy does a 1:44 on 9, that's pretty
Oh,
fast.
that's a good time. Yeah, that's a very good time.
He got a bit between his teeth. Sorry. Am I right in saying you do a bit of motorsport in the real world? Is that correct, or am I right or wrong there?
Yeah,
G?
that's correct. But
Obviously, you're not
I'm not
doing
sure.
anything at the moment because none of us are. But
yeah, I'm not sure about next season.
Yeah.
Either.
So, what championship do you normally do?
116 trophy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Where's and what cars is that? BMWs, is it?
Yeah.
BMW 1
116i.
Series.
Yeah, that's it.
You ought to find
Excellent.
a Honda Civic trophy.
White
Dan-
noise.
Kelly. Kelly will come and work with you, he says, if you find a Honda Civic trophy. Gee, best of luck. What's your ambitions for race 2? What's your goals for race 2, should I say? Ambitions.
Well, I'm always going to go for a win.
Yeah.
Nothing less. Can't settle
Nothing
for
less.
anything less.
Second is only first loser.
Exactly.
Well, we'll let you get back into your party with everybody else and concentrate for race 2. Good luck, mate.
Good luck.
So both drivers pretty happy, Kelly, with their performances of race 1.
And why wouldn't they be?
Exactly, and as you said a moment ago, Andy has done a 1:44.9. That is a very impressive qualifying time, to say the least. Big Boy Brazy is currently second, but can only do a 46.5. Unorthodox is then third, 47.2, and Deeks is fourth with a 48.1. Welsh is fifth, Fury down in sixth place at the moment. Who else can qualify? Emo Guy can qualify, Unorthodox can qualify,
Yep.
Keegs can qualify. I don't think we've seen Keegs, have we? No.
No.
He's not yet set a lap.
Although he is on track. There he is.
And Orthodox has just
probably-
gone third.
Yeah, with a 1:47, still 2 seconds off the ultimate pace just at the moment. As you can see, Keegs, I thought Keegs was warming up his tyres or something like that. And I mean, this session is only a couple of minutes away from being finished. It's only a 10-minute session for this qualifying for the second race this evening. But we're already at the sharp end of that already. So these guys are going to be thinking about, as Keeks does his best job to imitate a Flymo. These guys have got to get on with it if they want to get up at the sharp end.
Yeah, they really have.
Still Andy.
Keegs has got to get out to get a lap in to get in front of the guys that finished in the top 7 at the moment. Because at the minute he starts in the middle of them guys.
Yes, indeed. So still all to play for it at this point. As we pick up Jamie Brazier, as we said, is only lives a little way away from here. He's where is he on track? Where is he?
He's just coming down towards Agostini.
Yes, there he is. There we go. Just coming. As I say, I like this little section down through here. Agostini then into Hamilton. As we see him come through here, and you want to just touch the curb on the inside, take some curb on the inside, and not run out too wide on the outside. Pull across again to the left-hand side to tuck it into the apex on the right. Accelerate hard, go through that bit quite easily. This is a quite satisfying corner, this one. You can take more speed than you think you can. Now we're back onto the original Snetterton circuit. Down this long straight. Now this is a tricky section as you come down through here, because you don't want to brake on the corner, but you want to brake as late as possible. So you want to brake, come off the brakes, brake again, turn hard right into the right-hander, accelerate hard into the bomb hole, back end will go light, and you can kind of feel that as we come through there. Now again, another tricky braking zone. You're turning right, picking your braking point, hitting the brakes, trying to brake in a straight line, then turn immediately left and try and stay off the grass. As we see Big Boy Brazier just coming up to the line, is he going to improve?
He does,
Yes, he does
45.9, so he's within just under a second then of Andy Kelly. If it's all right, I'm just going to run through the Drivers' Championship.
Yes,
Got to do that
please. Yes,
for
yes.
race 1. So after 3 rounds, then G takes the championship lead on 68 points. Gary's second on 51, with Big Boy Brazier in third place on 40. Then we have Little Each, 4th place on 35 with AH up into 5th on 29 points. And Andy into 5th with AH tied in 5th for 29 points. Unorthodox is 7th on 25, tied with D Biggs on 25. Keegs is down in 9th place on 22 points. Peaceful just behind him on 21. Sooty Apex down on 19 with Phil on 18 points, but obviously Phil not here tonight. Emo Guy's then 13th on 12 points. Deeks is 14th on 5. Welsh's on... Fury's 14th on 6. Deeks is 15th on 5 and Welshie 16th on 3 points. That hasn't loaded. Right in the Constructors table, Forever Forward Racing, the two Mercedes-Benz on 89 points. 3 points ahead of Leach Motorsport. Then it's Iron Brew Racing A-Team in their Lamborghini of Jamie Brazier and Keegs on 62. Shake and Bake Motorsport, the two Porsches of AH and D Biggs on 54. Class of 97, the Lamborghini of Andy and Emo Guy on 41. Run Flat Racing of Phil and Sooty on 37. FU Racing, the Ferraris on 31 points. And DW Racing in their new Lamborghini on 8 points.
As Unorthodox just comes over the line, goes a little bit quicker but can't improve on 3rd. Looks like Deeks has backed out of whatever that lap, and Keegs. So looks like this is our order. So you've got Andy is on pole, Andy CWFC or whatever his name is. he's on pole from Big Boy Brazier and Unorthodox with our reverse grid. The top 7 only qualified, so those guys put the times in, as you can see on your screen now.
Indeed they do. Deeks got 4th with Fury 5th. Welshie up into 6th place. Keeg 7th. Emo Guy in 8th. And then the guys who couldn't qualify. Sooty Apex, the race winner, G, starts 10th. He said he'd rather start at the back of the pack than mid-pack. He's mid-pack for this one. Little Each 11th. AH 12th with Gary 13th. D-Biggs 14th. And Peaceful Explosion, G's teammate, at the back of the grid. So while the drivers just sort out last week's race setups, pit stops and things like that, we're going to be ready for them. Andy, Kelly, any little facts in between the two races?
I was going to do a bit of a like and subscribe thing, actually, Matt. Yeah. If you guys, if you've only just joined us, welcome along. Tell your friends, get involved. This is Simplay Motorsport that you're watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, go on Facebook like that, Instagram, all those things. Give all the support to this. Everybody who gets involved with this is a volunteer, and we all do it for the love of it. So please do give us the likes and all the rest of it, because that's what we want.
That is what we want. Thank you for that one,
yes.
Kelly. Just going through the stats, and that's Andy's 2nd pole of the year, so the first guy to take 2 poles so far this season. Gary and G have the other pole positions.
Is that on your notebook? Is it, Matt?
It's on my spreadsheet. I've got a load of little facts in.
Ooh,
yeah, I just have my notebook for the pit stops on that night, but I've got my spreadsheet with all my little stats and facts for the league. In this one, I can actually tell you that this will be Welshie and Peaceful. All the guys will be on their 23rd. Most of the guys who raced all the last season will be on their 23rd start of the season. Nice little stat for you there.
Yeah, absolutely. And nice to see that you're taking it seriously.
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? You've got to. Yeah. No point doing it half-heartedly.
Well, we like to put on a show for the people out there. That's why we're all doing it and why we all give up our time. So I do hope you enjoy it. If you're on and watching, please put a comment up, even if it's just to say hi. And I think we're ready to go. Yes?
It does look like we're ready to go. It's all synced in. The revs are rising for race 2. Again, mandatory pit stop, lap 6. And a familiar sight at the front of the grid. It's Andy and Big Boy Brazier who get us away for race 2. This time, though, followed by Dan and Deeks. A lot of Lamborghinis at the front of this grid here. And Andy gets a good start. Into turn 1 they come. And they were 3 abreast, just a bit further back. I'm not sure if they all made it through. Yes, they look like they did. Fury gets a wiggle. And Fury's well off into the grass. Yeah, he's well off into the grass then. Looks like they're all around turn 2 quite nicely as well. So it's only Fury who we have lost from this race. Well, we haven't lost him unless he's managed to find his way out the grass. But he went very wide at turn 2 and it seemed to snap on him on the grass and just go even further. But good start, clean start from everybody. Who's made the best start? Hard to say. Deeks is up into P4. Unorthodox has got Keegs. In fact, hang on. We've lost Big Boy Brazier again. He's disconnected for a second time in this one. So he's going to score no points at this event tonight. His home track, and he's not going to come away with a bean.
No, indeed. So, Jamie, we need to sort this out. Get a better internet connection or whatever you do it. But apart from that, a clean start. As say, Fury had a bit of a trip across the grass and is now currently last and is going to have to chase the rest of the pack down. But other than that, there's some great clean racing in the first lap. The only G, as we're on board with now, as you can see, is Hassel in the back of Emo Guy, already up to 6th place. What Andy needs to do is stay cool and keep his head down on this one. Him and Dan need to kind of break away from the rest of them and gap this guy, because G's coming. As we go with Keegs now, who's currently in 3rd place, and just a sniff behind Daniel on Orthodubs as they come over the line, and they've completed lap 1. Everyone's still with us, except we've lost big boy Jamie Brazier, as we see Keegs go very wide on turn 1.
Indeed, yes. Sorry, was just answering a message there to Jamie.
Nope.
Done with everything. My controller died and sent. Oh, his controller died and sent him into the wall, so he was retired because his controller died. Not that his internet's disconnected. Oh, Jamie, wow, bad that your night has been, mate. Unlucky. Hopefully we can get you back out next week and fighting fit. G's had a great start. He's up into P4 already.
Up to 4th already. Yes, indeed. As Keeks goes wide again as they go round Agostini, I think that was again. Yeah. So G's on a mission.
Who's that?
Someone else goes
that's
wide.
Deeks, who's very wide. Gary's also got a decent start. He's up to P7.
Yeah, look at these lot.
Emo Guy passing a Deeks that's returning to track. Gary's as well side by side with him. That is... Oh, they're still side by side. Look, coming through Williams onto the Bentley straight. Who's going to have the better run out of Williams? Gary isn't, as he's now on the grass. Deeks should get that job done, although that Porsche is pulling
Gary's
lovely
on the inside. Yeah, it's powerful in the straight line for sure. See him just pull past him, and now he's got the racing line that he wants to go through this new section. But it's not over yet.
Deeks,
yeah, that was rude. Rude but fair, I think.
Yeah, fighting back. Great move from Deeks, and that's allowed AH up the inside of Gary. So Gary's actually lost 2 places there. So Deeks, cracking manoeuvre, had every right to do so. And Gary looking at the back of the Shake and Bake Motorsport Porsche once again, but this time it's AH, not D Biggs.
AH.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, AH just followed through there, but Gary got run wide, and when you get stuck out there on the outside, just opens the door for other guys to come straight through, and AH did that. But Gary's back on the attack on the outside of turn 1. This is going to be interesting.
It is, as they all go through turn 1, and AH loses that place. Gary round the outside. Great manoeuvre from him. AH is going to have his teammate pressuring him now. D-Biggs, in fact, AH has let D-Biggs have that spot, so clearly feels that he had made a mistake somewhere and has yielded the time. AH struggling then coming through turn 1. G has passed Keegs up into P3, just as you changed to him there, Kelly. So he's up into P3. Another move done for the Only G, and another step on the podium at the moment. And so far, so good in terms of his start to his second race. Gary has the work to do over Deeks again, but here is Emo Guy. And P5 at the moment, his teammate leads this race. There is Gary, stuck behind Deeks once again. He's got to get that move done. And he's going to try coming into Olgies and Williams. Is he going to have a look? No, he's not going to look this time round. He's going to set him up for Williams down the start straight, down the back straight, sorry, of the Bentley straight it's called. He's taking that wider entry. Oh, a bit of a twitch mid-corner for Gary, and he's wide again. In fact, he's round. Gary's lost the car.
Oh, no.
I saw the car twitch mid-corner, and he lost the rear of it. And all that momentum Gary had, just down to P9 now. Little Each may get past him on the straight, but G up into 3rd, right behind on Orthodubs at the moment, looking like he could put Dan under some pressure.
He certainly could. These 3 at the front, the Motive staff, all out front at the moment, so if they trip over each other, there could be handbags adorned with these guys. Dan will be frantically looking in his mirror. He knows how quick G is. He could be trying to make that the widest Ferrari in the world, but look, G's going to have to go around the outside into turn 1. Daniel holds his line, gets a little bit squirrely. G backs out of it, but runs wide, so G's down the inside now. He hasn't got enough of an overcut there, so Daniel holds his line into the apex. As they come out the other side, G's all over him.
Emo Guy's past Keegs just behind, I noticed. Emo Guy's up into P4 ahead of Keegs now then. So that's that battle done. Now on board with G, we see the pressure he's putting on the back of Unorthodox. D-Biggs and AH have both got past Deeks as well, so Deeks had to wait.
Daniel's gone deep.
Wide at Agostini. It's not hurt him too much there, actually.
No, he managed to get the drive back off the corner as he come off it. As he just touches the brakes into Hamilton, stays well off that curb. G's not going to be able to do him here, but he's... Daniel has another twitch going in there. The Ferrari being a bit of a handful. And it looks like he's lost it. Looks like Daniel lost it there. Just a little bit.
I think he's lost it more than a little bit. He's down to 5th. Oh, he's round there. Look, there is AH and D-Biggs going past. He's down to P7 now. Rejoins just ahead of D-Biggs. Yeah. You said he had a twitch, and he just got that bit of a twitch coming through Williams onto the Bentley straight, and look at the momentum that he's lost, not being able to carry the speed through Williams. Deeks looking all over the back of him, but he's not thought about sending one into Brundle. Will he do it into Nelson like he did Gary? No, because Unorthodox defends that one early doors there. Gary still not yet caught onto the back of Deeks after his spin. He's down P9. Little Leach is 10th with Peaceful 11th. Sooty Apex down in 14th place. What has happened to Sooty? 2:11 last lap, so he must have had a bad lap.
Yeah, it's so frustrating when you're involved in this, and you know. From my own experience for the couple of races that I do in a week, it's so frustrating when you lose, when you're going so well, and then you manage to make you make a mistake and you go so far backwards. So incredibly frustrating. Daniel will be screaming and shouting and frustrated with himself, you know, just for losing that back end and costing himself so many places.
It has, and it could cost him another one because Deeks, I think has just pushed him a bit wide. I think he's backed out that one to let him have let Dan have that place back. Just later on the brakes than Unorthodox, and he just tapped the rear.
Just pushed him on.
Luckily enough, Unorthodox didn't spin from that one, but a bit rude from Deeks, but then a bit not nice enough to let him keep the position. We saw that with Dan last week, didn't he? Dan actually turned Keegs around, and then his tyres went cold in the snow, and he went straight on at the next corner. Do you remember?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's also the thing as well. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to come up behind someone and give them a nudge, you know, and not do it on purpose. It just, you know, it's the adrenaline's going and you're in the heat of the moment, and it can be done really quite innocently. But it's how you deal with that afterwards and how you give the place back. Or respect that other driver, you know. So
and Deeks did it quite respectively there, like Dan did last week. You know, he realised he'd done wrong. A bit of a flash of lights, and Dan on his way. Deeks has now lost out massively as the two shake and bake Porsches of D-Biggs and AH are really gaining on these two Lamborghinis of Keegs and Emo Guy at the moment. G is up into second after Dan lost it and is 2.6 off the back of Andy. G looks like he could be on for another race win, but obviously pit window opens at the end of the next lap that these guys are about to start. Lap 6 Andy's on, so Andy has actually opened the pit window obviously when you're on your 6th lap. But at the moment quite a few cars strung out, not really many battles on the circuit so far. Just looking at the timing screen, Sutty's actually closer to Welshie. That's probably the closest battle I think we've got. That's just over a second for 14th and 13th place as well. Who'd have thought Sooty Apex would have been there? Chris obviously changed car, back in a new car this week. But yeah, not the Sooty we used to seeing. That is for sure.
Yes, indeed. So AH is and D-Biggs in front of him is the closest, probably the closest race on track as we go on board with AH. So you can see for yourself, they're reeling in Keegs as well. Yeah. By the looks of it, and Emo Guy isn't that far ahead. As we said, going a bit wide. Exactly what I was saying. You go out wide on that curb, it'll throw you back to the inside. You'll lose the back end so incredibly quickly.
Just to put in there, Sutty's got past Welshie.
Yeah. Okay, we didn't see that on camera, did we?
No, I missed that one. But nevertheless, Sooty is now up into P13 ahead of Welshie then. But you're right, you come out of Hamilton and you do not want to touch that outside curb or grass because it will just sort of send you the opposite way of the track. And Gary, who's that making a move on? Oh, he's passed on Unorthodox and Deeks.
Unorthodox, yeah. Gary's just done Unorthodox and Deeks in quite close succession, actually. So, as we go on board with Unorthodox, you can see how close he is to Gary there.
Yeah, and at the moment, Unorthodox doing the job that he needs to do. Can he get back in front of Gary? P8. Keegs has just picked up a... I tell you what Keegs has got. I know what that penalty is. That'll be a 10-second penalty, time penalty for Keegs at the end of the race. Speeding in the pit lane for him then. So Keegs not slowing down in time. Yeah, not slowing down in time. When Orthodox comes into the pits as well at the end of lap 6. But Keegs, 10-second time penalty. That's really going to hurt him. Oh, look at this battle coming down the start straight. Peaceful Fury and Little Leach. Look at these three. Oh, as Peaceful's going to spoil that one.
Oh, yeah, it was Little Leach. There we go. Little Leach all over the back of Fury as Fury's teammate Unorthodox comes out of the pits. These two obviously haven't pitted yet. Only the first couple of guys have pitted so far.
Little Leach having a look.
Oh, that was late on the brakes, wasn't it?
Late on the brakes, and quite a good move there from Little Leach. Fury giving him the room that he needed. He left the door open, did Fury, and Little Leach took full advantage of that one. Oh, he's wide now, though. Very wide coming through. That's Palmer, I do believe, and Unorthodox will gain that place back. But he was so wide coming through Palmer. Unbelievable there, but it was a good move, though, into the second corner of Wilson.
Another one of those 0 to 0 moments there. Shame that one, Little Leach, but that's the way it goes. It's the way it goes indeed.
What is happening with Peaceful's pit stop? He's just come out of the pits. That seemed. Oh, he's had another twitch coming through. That's Hamilton. He's come through, and he's round now. Yeah, he's had another twitch, and he's round now. That is Little Leach. Gary said in the interview just before we came back on air, Little Leach is struggling. Keegs has hit the sausage curb, and he's lost the car now. So not the race Keegs would have wanted. Little Leach struggling. Who's that now off? That's Fury who's had a spin.
Unorthodox has gone as well and been hit by somebody. There's
Fury's.
Chaos going on.
It is mental at the moment on track. Keegs had a spin. Little Leach had a spin. Fury was off. Unorthodox was off. I think Little Leach caught the side of Unorthodox. Emo guy in all of this is pitting. But dear me, G's on the back of Andy, 0.3 of a second is that gap. Keegs loses the car coming into Nelson and manages to avoid Sutty, but off he goes. Fury's off again.
Fury's off again as well. Fury's smashed right up.
Yeah, he could have bad damage on that car. Luckily, though, Fury has still yet to pit, so can repair that damage. Little Leach as well, he's got to pit.
I'm going to flick
yeah,
to
that's
the front
fine.
Because G has caught Andy now. Andy's having a much better. G goes a bit wide. He manages to keep it all together. Get Andy having a much better race this time and keeping it all together. But the only G's coming, it's like, I don't know, being out front in a Williams and Lewis Hamilton coming up behind you.
It's like starting the race a lap ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and then all of a sudden, like a flash, he's on your rear. Although I don't think the Mercedes would have been able to have followed the Williams for this amount of time.
No,
to be fair, without
not.
Overheating and probably blowing up.
No.
But at the minute, G is putting some real pressure on the back of Andy. These guys obviously still to pit as well. On lap 8 of 18. And so far, you see the cloud just starting to look like looks like it's getting a bit thicker. Though as we come round Coram, it actually is blue skies on the opposite side of Coram.
Yeah,
Sun setting 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, and G did very
did
well.
He touch him then?
No, I don't
very
think
close.
he did. He did very well to not tap the rear of Andy there.
Very well. As you can see, Little G is all over. We're almost looking down that exhaust pipe.
He's gone to the outside here, and he can't get the move done. He's looking for the cutback, but Andy's kept it tight enough, and he'll defend. It's easy to defend in turn 2, provided you get the right run out the first corner. And Andy has done just that. You can pretty much, and I'll tell you one thing. This is the only compliment I'll give him. Jason Plato does it well. He's parking it on the apex to get the car turned in and get a better, to compromise the guy's exit of the corner. That is what Andy kind of did there. He did it like Plato would. I will praise Plato for that. It is a fantastic manoeuvre.
Plato is very, very good at defending. He's extremely good at it. And I mean, Jason Plato. I mean, you know, I'm not the biggest fan.
Was that Fury? Sorry, while you were saying that, these laps, I think Fury was off again.
Was he?
Yeah, he was on the grass coming out of Agostini. He is struggling.
He is struggling. Jason Plato, I say not a big fan, but he is a very good racer. Any professional racer of the calibre of Jason Plato, Matt Neal, any of those is a fantastic driver. We won't take away. And we laugh and joke. We laugh and joke and look at Gene and no, he can't make it.
Andy!
Andy! Oh, no!
Over the sausage curb, and he launched as if he was a NASA space Yeah, rocket,
pilot,
as
an
if he was a
astronaut.
space rocket, an astronaut into
astronaut,
space off
that's
that
it.
sausage curb. How G must have slammed on his brakes, because Andy nearly T-boned him off the side of the circuit and took him with him. What a job that was from G to keep out the side of Andy. But Andy just made that mistake again there, coming into Brundle and Nelson, and it's cost him dearly.
Yes, it certainly has. It's cost him the lead. He had a nice gap back to D Biggs, who's in third place. They've got quite a nice gap at the moment. Has D Biggs pitted yet?
No, they only D Biggs, AH, Sutty, Andy, Deeks, Little Each, and G, and I do believe Gary did. Yeah, Gary as well, not yet pitted.
Yeah, so I mean, these two front guys have gapped the rest of the pack a little bit. So I mean, G's now away, isn't he? He's going to fly on probably to win this one in the next 8 laps. Although, as I said, pit stop's still to come. So
is that AH? Yeah, AH has lost 3. And narrowly avoids his teammate. Oh no, it is D Biggs. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, you're right. D Biggs lost the rear. Oh, and Gary's going to come past him as well. So D Biggs, we saw him lose the rear early towards the end of the race 1. He's now lost it early in race 2, and again he stares at the back of Gary 131's Porsche as he's lost the rear and done pretty much similar, just at a different part of the track. Deeks has just came out the pits. So let me mark that one down in my little notebook. The end of lap 9, he's pitted.
Yes, yeah. Just to finish what I was saying about race car drivers. I mean, we'll have a bit of banter here on the channel, and I'll be the first one to banter about drivers and whatever, but I don't take anything away from any professional driver. You know, it takes a lot of skill to drive any car at speed, and you know, Jason Plato, Matt Neal, Lewis Hamilton, any of them. Do you know what I mean? You know, from anybody to, you know, the worst driver on the grid is still a professional driver. You know,
indeed.
Yeah, you have to take your hat off to what they do. Saying that, we can banter about race drivers because we can.
Because we can. We're allowed everybody's opinion. Gary 131. Indeed it is. Gary 131 them gapping D Biggs at the moment. Anybody pitting? Yeah, D Biggs is just coming in actually while we speak about that one at the end of lap 10. D Biggs into the pits. Just looking on circuit, there doesn't seem to be much happening in this second race, does there?
No, it's not quite as action-packed as the first one, but as I say, a little way to go yet. It's still 8 laps in this race round Snetterton 300 here in, I don't know, Norfolk, isn't it?
Norfolk. Yeah, the sun looks like it's setting, though. It does look like the sun's starting to set or go behind the clouds.
Yes, indeed. So, I've just seen, I saw Daniel get close up behind Keegs, and Daniel goes wide as we
I noticed that what you've just said. Dan was behind Keegs a moment ago, gaining on him, and he's now in front. So Keegs made a mistake somewhere else? Yeah,
maybe had a moment, maybe run wide or something, and Dan was able to get past him or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as you say, all a bit static at the moment, all a bit holding station. No real battles on track right at the moment, so gives us a good opportunity to like and subscribe while I do the whole corporate thing here on Simplay. Like and subscribe and you know, do all that stuff that we like, you know. So
Kieran Argent's just commented, Kelly, saying that we need a bit of weather here. Tell you what, a bit of rain right now would not go amiss here. It would really shake it up a bit.
Yes, indeed, it would. Yeah, a little a snowstorm would do it, wouldn't it?
One thing I want to say about Unorthodox at the moment, he knows Keegs is behind him. Even if he makes a mistake, he's not going to force the issue to Keegs, because Keegs got a time penalty of speeding in the pit lane, which I know is a minimum of 10 seconds. So he's not got to force the issue with Keegs as much.
No. I believe that probably Daniel isn't really thinking about that, to be fair. He's probably frustrated with himself for these silly mistakes that have been made, and he's probably just trying to get his head down and try and drag some kind of result out of this. He's probably not thinking too much about behind. He's probably just thinking that why the hell am I in 10th? But as we said many times, that's the way it goes with this thing. Even the only G spins it round from time to time.
Yeah, we saw last week G at Nürburgring did seem to struggle with the cold temperatures and the cold conditions. He hasn't tonight, though, in what seemed to be pretty lovely conditions at Snetterton, to be fair.
Not bad at all for a January afternoon, is it?
Not too bad at all. Nice blue skies, bit of cloud. It looks like cloud cover's just thickening up a bit as we've lost.
Just lost somebody.
Keegs.
Was it Keegs we just lost?
Yeah, Keys, because he was the only one with a red number, the only one with a time penalty, and he will not score any points. Will not get anything out of this race as he didn't get to lap 14, so will score no points. So for Iron Brew Racing A team, no points for them two then in this one at all. Not the race them guys would have wanted. They'll score nothing in this. Obviously, the drop score system in place, they could drop their points from tonight. Lowest score of the season is dropped. But looking at it at the moment, this man is going to take maximum points tonight. We'll see if he's got the fastest lap at the end of the race, but he looks like he could take 2 race wins out of 2 tonight. Gary gaining on the back of AH a little bit here, who's got Welshie for company. Andy in the pits at the end of lap 12.
Yes, indeed. Just looking on the comments, Jamie Brazier saying thunderstorm, please. Remember, Jamie, if you have a thunderstorm here, it's going to be outside your house as well.
Yeah. He texted me yesterday and today. Jamie's kind of been my weatherman today. Like 12 o'clock till 20 past 12, which is qualifying 1. Text me what the weather was. 1 o'clock till 1:30 he texted me the weather then. And he didn't say qualifying 1 and qualifying 2 and 3, because according to my phone, it was just meant to rain. The whole time yesterday, it was just meant to rain. But yeah, it was actually raining for the last half of race 2. So like this time last night, it had started raining and it was already kind of wet on the circuit. So it's good to have somebody local to the circuit to give me an actual what the weather has done, not what BBC thinks it's going to do sort of thing.
Wow, yeah. When can weathermen ever predict the weather?
Well, this is it. This is it.
I wonder what Jamie Brazier does all day, because he's been messaging you and he's been messaging me all day. Jamie, do something else with your life, man.
Yeah. Well, I know he's been furloughed, so he's probably not got a lot to do at the moment, to be fair.
Probably struggling to fill the days, so...
he's sat outside his bedroom window, stopwatch on for 20 minutes. Right, I text Matt, this is what the weather's just done. Jamie, if you're available, can you fly out to Daytona for next week, please? Because we need to know what the weather's doing out there. If you are available to do so.
Yeah, get me some fun facts about Daytona as well, because I'm going to need them for next week.
Daytona, fun fact about that one. If Mazda is back, Mazda took the 24-hour Daytona race we did over the Christmas period. In between the 2 seasons, Mazda did the 24-hour race, won that one,
I think
the outright class win.
Mad.
And
you guys are all absolutely mad. You
think we're all mad? At least everybody else got some sleep. Mazda did all 24 hours in the car.
All 20? How do you do that? How do you do that?
So when you pit on Project Cars, there's a chance to swap the driver, and what it will do is it will put the computer in, so the computer will drive your car.
Yes.
So we all did it. Dan actually got caught on the stream. He forgot to mute his mic when he fell asleep, so he had his headsets on. So if you go, I think it's part 4, there's Dan just snoring on the stream.
And he does snore. He does snore some, just my boy. Yeah.
And Mazda sat in the car. He had about 18 cans of energy drink, and Mazda just sat in the car for 24 hours and did the whole thing. 24
hours.
And
When I
spoke to him afterwards, and I says, "How come you're mental for doing that? You're crazy." Me and my wife had some bad news at the time, and he says, "I ran the number 5, which is my number." He says, "I did all 24 hours. I made it my goal to do it for you guys." So we appreciated that one, and it was very much appreciated from Mazda for that one. Gary, is he going slow?
I don't know.
He's got damage on the front of his Porsche. Just if we jump on board Gary, he's had a shunt somewhere,
and that's a big one as well. I don't know what he's hit for that. The way he looks like it would look like a brick wall, doesn't it?
Well, Andy's already pitted, so he's going to benefit from it. He hasn't got to really hurry to pass Gary, because Gary's still got to pit, but Gary has hit something head on hard.
Yes, for sure. That ain't going to polish out. There's no amount of T-cut that's going to fix that.
No.
And probably the Project Cars mechanics won't be able to do it either, because they don't do nothing.
We said last week, didn't we, Kelly, that on the Nürburgring races, there goes Andy up the inside, nice and easy. Gary didn't even try defending that one. We said last week, Kelly, that you wouldn't like to foot the bill for these manufactured cars because they're not cheap.
Well, not with these guys.
And Gary's gave Porsche a bit of a job to do there. Oh, the Leach Motorsport boys.
Yeah, he's probably done, I don't know, probably three grand's worth of damage to the front of that car.
Easily.
But yeah, these guys must cost a fortune. You'd love to know what the repair bills are after this lot have been racing, wouldn't you?
I tell you what, I would not like to see their builds. AH is pitted, in and out he goes. He's away from the pitch. You just heard him leaving his pit box. He's dropped down to P3 at the moment then, after he leaves the pit. Gary, now if he's got major damage to that car, I tell you what, I will notice, sometimes when you repair your damage, which Gary hasn't done, so Gary was going slow, but that seemed a relatively quick pit stop.
Yes, it did. That didn't look like the damage was... Well, the damage is visually not repaired. And it didn't look long enough to do that much damage, that much repair, did it?
We'll see what Gary will do next lap then. Because he didn't look quick when Andy was behind him, did he? He didn't look like he was really pushing.
Really struggling by the looks of it.
This man not yet pitted. He's running till the end with the looks of things. Sutty, Apex, Little Leach and the only G not yet coming to the pits. The only three who haven't pitted yet. As I say that, Little Leach just pits now at the end of lap 14. So just Sutty and G to pit then at the moment. Sutty Apex P8 so far. Can he catch Deeks in front? That is the question, but obviously with Sutty pitting, it's alright catching him and passing him, but Deeks will just get him back in the pit stops. Unorthodox has passed Little Leach as Little Leach leaves the pits now in his Leach Motorsport Porsche. Tell you what, he's got damage to the front of that car as well. Leach Motorsport getting an expensive bill from Porsche, let me tell you that now. As Peaceful Explosion as well passes Little Leach, and there is our race leader starting the 16th lap and about to lap P11 and potentially his teammate in this one. Obviously he's got to pits, they'll probably unlap themselves as Little Leach moves well out the way. And good respect. That was one thing that was mentioned last night as well while we're on about it. NJ won the first race and really applauded the back markers for getting out the way and being respectful to the blue flags. And it can be a problem. We know it's a problem in real motorsport. It can be a problem in the sim world. You want to see your back markers get out of the way like that.
Although, controversially, I would say if it was me, probably not in sim racing, but in the real thing, I'd do away with blue flags, especially in Formula 1.
Would you?
Yeah, how controversial is that?
Now, I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but
make them go round them.
I'd bring in a rule of like the endurance stuff. So, like your Le Mans and your World Endurance, if you get a blue flag, the LMPs have to overtake you in like a GT3 or an LMP2. The LMP1 hypercars, whatever they're called nowadays, have to overtake you, but you've got the blue flag to kind of warn you.
Just let you know.
I think that should be a feature for like Formula 1, especially if you get in a Mercedes lapping a Williams, you know you're going to fly past him. It was Vettel the other year, wasn't it? Really sort of made blue flags a controversial thing. And like at times he's asking for blue flags to be waved, but the car's like a second up the road.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, you know, Formula 1 is well renowned for the cars not being able to follow very well. And they say these certainly the 2020 cars can't follow within 2 seconds now of the car in front. It really disturbs the air, and we're hoping that the reg change, which will now be next year, is going to start to sort that problem out and give us better aero so they can follow. But as I said, I'm sure back in the day, you know, way back in the day, before all our time, that there was no blue flags, and if you came up behind a back marker in Formula 1, you had to get round them. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, I'm happy to wave the blue flag as a warning for the slower car, but make them do what they do in the World Endurance, and the leader has to pass the back marker. Why should I think that should be the way forward, to be fair. Like World Endurance, I like the way they do it.
Yeah.
The blue flag there is a marker to let you know as the back marker that you are being lapped, but the leader has to go round you, not you. Oh, Gary! He's hit the sausage curb coming through the final corner. He was on the back of D Biggs once again in this race, on the back of D Biggs, but it's this time Gary who's lost out. D has pitted and has an 8-second lead now to Andy, so it looks like he's got that one pretty much done. 8 seconds, quite a bit of time. The sun is really setting here, and all the temps just slowing down where Gary's car is just not able to hang on. He did give that sausage curb a bit of a clout though, Kelly, as he lost the rear.
I unsettled the car and that was it. Around it went. Yes, indeed. So, as you said, the only G's done his pit stop. He's got 9 seconds now clear of this guy, Andy, who's having a much better outing, to be fair, in this race. Apart from that one mistake, really, he's driven a much better race. And he's 10 seconds up the road from AH now. So the whole field... again, AH is a good whack in front of Emo Guy, who's got some people around him, but I think they're back markers, to be fair. The field is quite well spread out at the moment. so no real battles on track. But yeah, some good racing from the guys tonight.
Guys, get your voting
field.
in the chat for driver of the day. It's hard to look past the only G again, but you know what? I'm gonna give D Biggs the shout out. To be fair, a third place and a fifth place. I think D Biggs is going to get my vote.
Yeah, a good effort for the whole evening for the whatever. Certainly race one. I think Gary was the class of the field.
Yeah.
In race one, he drove an absolute stormer. For this race, I'm going to say Andy. I think he really kind of sorted his stuff out for the second race and was much more consistent.
What about over the two overall?
Sorry?
Overall for the two for the whole session?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, to be honest.
D-Biggs,
I mean, the only G's the only G.
Yeah.
You know, so as we see him now on his last lap. But yeah, D Biggs. Yeah. What was it? A third and a fifth?
Third and a fifth at the moment as well. He could still gain on Emo Guy with 1 lap to go, and maybe get a third and a fourth. But yeah, no, D Biggs for me. Jamie says Gary for driver of the day in the chat. Yeah. So that's it's a good vote.
Certainly
it's an interesting
race
vote
one for Gary.
Yeah, certainly race one. Race two, I can see where you're coming from as well for race two with Andy. He's drove a brilliant race. Again, though, I look at Emo Guy and I look at AH as well. They've had a better second race. They've looked good. Yeah. But I think all-round D Biggs has been the man. Sutty, on lap 17, has only just came into the pits, and G has nearly finished this race. So he needs to get in and out quickly before G comes round and laps him.
Will he get some sort of penalty for that, for doing that way?
No, he's allowed to put second to last lap. He's on his penultimate lap, isn't he, Sutty? So he's allowed to pit.
So he's fine,
he's got till that lap. Obviously, he'd have got penalised if he pitted on this lap. Bethany Ann Duffin says Gary for driver of the day too. It's Gary all the time for Bethany Ann Duffin as the cameraman glitches out and goes on board Gary 131 because Gary had a spin there. This is what Project Cars do. Leave it. There we go. It's back on the only G as we're going to see him take another race win. It's 2 from 2 as he slides across the line once again, and he's done brilliant tonight. Has the only G. There's the cameraman picking up Gary again. This man going to get himself on the podium. I think for the first time here at Simplay Motorsport. P2 for Andy. Good start to the season for him. It has been. That is his first podium of the season. AH as the cameraman again, lovely picking up Gary.
Keeps picking up Gary for some reason. That's not me doing that.
I'll tell you what it is. It's the game's registered Gary spinning there, and then we'll pick Gary up. It did it on Motive for me the other day when Big Boy Brazier had a spin. AH crosses the line P3 and on the podium. Emo Guy, good points for him up in P4. His best finish of the season. D Biggs closely follows in P5. Then Gary comes home P6 after a disappointing spin at the end when he was closing in on D Biggs. 6th place for Gary 131. Deeks then, best finish of the season, dropped the Acura for the Lamborghini. Now, was that the right decision for him as a cameraman again? Picks up Gary 131. Deeks is going to come home to take a P7. Deeks will get down the straight a little bit. There we go, cameraman picks him up. P7 for him, a good start. His teammate, not necessarily the start he'd have wanted to his life in the Lamborghini. Unorthodox is going to come home P8 with the looks of things. He'll come round Coram, and then the cameraman will pick up Gary again, and then we'll go back to Unorthodox halfway down the straight. There we go, there's Gary 131. Just because he's had a spin, it's like glitched this camera out. This cameraman's got a thing for Gary. It must be Beth on the cameras here. But Unorthodox coming down the straight to take a P8 for himself as he goes into the wall while doing so. Brilliant.
He's not paying for that car, is he?
No, he's not. Gary 131's been picked up again as we wait for Unorthodox to come, as we wait for Peaceful Explosion to come across the line and take P9 in his Mercedes-Benz. Little Leach going to come across P10. Really has struggled tonight as Little Leach. P10 for him. Sutty Apex tried to do the long pit stop and it didn't really work for him. He's going to come across P11. And Fury got P12. Just about to look at the fastest lap. And that was, again, the only G. So maximum points tonight for the only G. Really top stuff from him. We're just going to go to a quick break in a moment because I just want to get Andy in the commentary box just for a quick chat about his second place. Just going to run through the order there so you can all see everybody's final positions. Don't forget we lost Keegs and Big Boy Brazier in this one, so they will score no points going forward into this. But we're just going to get Andy in for a quick chat.
Hello.
Hello, Andy.
As Andy joins us live in the commentary box now, Andy, you said we wouldn't get you in the commentary box for an interview, but you've drove an absolute cracking race and got on the podium.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one, to be honest. I thought after the first race I could have done better from pole, but the first race I just had a few spins, didn't really have the car in the right place. The tyre pressures were a little bit off, so second race changed the tyre pressures up a little bit, stuck a little bit more of downforce on the car, and it handled really nicely. Didn't have the pace of G, unfortunately. He was just too quick, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. P2, my first podium at Simplay.
Yeah, really good stuff. 2 pole positions for yourself as well. Cracking drive. Obviously, you lost it in race 1 and had to sort of fight your way through the field, but race 2 was just, you was just on it. Got your head down from the start and just went, really. Didn't look back. And obviously, G gave you the problems in the mid-race where he sort of took off the sausage curb through Brundle and Nelson. You was lucky not to go into the side of him.
Yeah, and when I saw G coming around the outside, coming into the chicane, I thought to myself, best not fight that one too hard, but then outbrake myself a little bit, ended up running over that sausage curb. And my main aim, as soon as I realised I was going deep, was keep it out of G's way, because I don't want to end up ruining his race.
Yeah.
So main thing, just ran over that sausage curb, stayed out of the way. And from then on, G just pulled away. He was too quick. He really does have some scorching pace around the Snetterton. So for me, it was just about consolidating, just driving the car around, bringing it home in that second place. And as I say, I'm really delighted to get on the podium here. I wasn't really expecting this type of result coming into tonight.
Obviously,
Andy.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Matt. Andy, you feel you and G are good friends. Do you still feel the pressure with him tormenting you, as it were, as he catches you? Are you watching the lap times as you know that only G's behind you, and then as they tumble down? Do you feel that pressure?
Well, to be honest, Kenny, I was very much aware of G's presence because we were in a party chat, actually. Myself,
Right.
G, Peaceful, Dan, Unorthodox, and Emo Guy were all sat in a party chat. And I knew that G was getting closer because he kept saying, Andy, I'm lagging. If I'm lagging, let me know. I won't go for a move. And I was saying, you know, it's fine. Just go for it. Do what you want. And in the end, he went for it and got the position. But I was very much aware of his presence. And to be honest, I was just driving my own race and going at my own pace. I wasn't going to try and over push it like in the first race and end up losing the car. I just wanted to make sure I could reach my potential, and hopefully I did that.
Andy, one thing...
I think for me, you're like kind of the most improved from race 1 to race 2. You know, race 1 you were showing the pace, but a couple of silly mistakes kind of ruined it for you, didn't they? And race 2, a much cleaner, better race. Really, apart from the sausage curb.
It was mainly the setup.
Yeah, and you can see how much difference it made in your performance. You know, and apart from the sausage curb incident, I think you drove a really nice race.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
Andy, I just wanted to add to Kelly's bit there. You've commentated Simplay last season. You're obviously in the Pro-Am with us this year. We've had one wet race in 4.
It's quite a turnout, isn't it?
What's going off?
Unusual for Simplay. I thought we usually have all wet races and maybe the odd dry race here and there, but it's been a little bit. We've had some really nice weather over the course of this season, and long may it continue, because the wet races in the front rear-wheel drive cars, not really my thing. Touring cars, I love the wet, but rear-wheel drive, different story.
Well, you're quite right. Yeah, the touring car seems to perform much better in the wet, doesn't it? You know, so I don't doubt that the rear-wheel drive cars, you know, that all of them are a handful in the wet. And considering how much rain we've had in our lovely country today, it was quite surprising that Snetterton was dry, wasn't it? You know,
it was, to be fair.
It's the last place you would expect to have a double dry event, really, isn't it?
It was,
especially with what we saw yesterday in the Pro-Am when we saw that unbelievable second race, and it's the last thing I thought we would see. I was half expecting to see the heavens opening halfway through that race. I was sort of taking my position with a pinch of salt, thinking this is going to all go up in smoke very quickly any moment now. If you
remember back to last season, the weather for Pro and Pro-Am was the same, so it should have rained for race 2 if it was last season, but obviously this one, not the case. Well, congratulations to you, congratulations to G. Kelly, any final words?
No, just again, great racing from everyone. Like and subscribe and do all that kind of nonsense. Thank you, those people who are watching. Thanks for the comments. Cracking race, Matt. Cracking racing. I'm always really privileged to be here, and bring on next week. Where are we next week? We're going over the pond, aren't we?
We are over the pond, over the into the United States of America for the Daytona road course race. A lot of the guys familiar with that from the 24-hour series race that we did. Night race as well, first night race of the season, so it'll be an interesting one under the lights around the road course of Daytona. Join us live Wednesday night for the Pro-Am at 8 PM and Thursday night for the Pros, where Andy and G will be battling out again with AH, D-Biggs and the likes of the other guys as well. That's all we've got time though here at Simplay Motorsport. We'll see you next week. Well done to all the drivers tonight and last night, and everybody take care at the moment in the current tricky circumstances that we are living in.
Indeed.
And
Yep.
we'll see you live next week 8 PM from all of us out here at Simplay Motorsport. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.